Welcome back to a Crypto Ski Conversation. I know it's been about 5 days since I recorded. I'm in the process of moving, so there's a lot of moving parts going on, but I wanted to cover some stuff that's going on within the community. And I think I'm planning on making another video later in the day, but we're going to start here with CoinGecko. Quickly, I'm going to play this video clip here that Benny Johnson had put up from Fox News, and I think they do a great job of kind of talking about everything that's been going on with the FTX and like how it's been affecting the markets. But if we come over here, look at CoinGecko, we're currently still sitting under $1 trillion market cap, sitting at 857 billion, currently down 1.3%. Bitcoin sitting at 16,500, Ethereum sitting at 1175, and then XRP is sitting at 37 cents. If I come over here, Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index sitting at 24. So we're just going to quickly jump into this, and then we're going to let this play through. It's about 10 minutes long, and then I'll make a video later covering a bunch of different topics that's been kind of going on within the industry. So let's play this in.
Should have been covering and regulating and reigning in cryptocurrency, a history-changing event. It may turn out to be the biggest single-day loss of assets in the history of money. Billions of dollars evaporated in just moments, and it's still not clear what happened to a lot of that money. It just disappeared. And as it did, it sparked a growing financial crisis across entire sectors of the economy, a disaster that quite possibly could get very worse very soon. But the story of the FTX implosion is bigger even than the global recession it may cause. It is the story of the complete and utter corruption of the people who run our country. The very people who should have been covering and regulating and reining in FTX and its 30-year-old founder, Sam Bankman-Fried, were instead profiting from the scam. Not just a few of them, nearly all of them. From the news media, paid off by Sam Bankman-Fried, to the leadership of the Democratic Party, also paid off by Sam Bankman-Fried, to the chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC commissioner himself, Gary Gensler. They all knew that FTX was not a real company and that Sam Bankman-Fried was a fraud. And if they didn't know that, they certainly should have known that, because it was very obvious to anyone who bothered to pay attention. One of the few who did pay attention was a short seller called Mark Cohodes, who took one look at Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF for short, and recognized here is a con artist, obviously. Watch this tape, which aired on Hedge Eye TV, a small investment advice channel, back in October.
When anyone tries to pin SBF down on where he made his money, you can't get a cogent answer. Then you take into account that SBF is bailing out known Ponzi's and frauds in the crypto space. Everyone who's gone bankrupt or is a proven fraud. But nothing here fits. Everything reads like this thing is a complete scam. And I think this thing is dirty and rotten to the core.
So if that guy on a small audience investment channel could tell that Sam Bankman-Fried was a fraud, where was Gary Gensler of the SEC? And by the way, the tell in the sentence you just heard is that Sam Bankman-Fried couldn't explain where he got his money. Here you are, a 30-year-old billionaire. How'd you do that? If you can't tell us, then maybe that's a red flag, and you would think most investors would have recognized it. But for the most part, they didn't. Nor do they seem to notice the obvious incompetence of Sam Bankman-Fried's business partner / girlfriend, Caroline Ellison. Ellison was totally and obviously unqualified for the job she claimed to have. She had no track record of success at anything. She reportedly wrote online about her drug use. And then, on a podcast back in May, months before the collapse, Caroline Ellison just came out and admitted that she had no idea what she was doing. Watch this.
Do you think that you have been able to pull this thing off without your mathematics degree, or it has been the pillar of your trading activity?
Yeah, absolutely could pull it off without my math degree. Use very little math. When you start out as like an intern and you do something and accidentally lose, maybe $1,000 for your desk, you're like, oh God, like everyone's gonna hate me now, like this is terrible. And yeah, over time you have to sort of, get comfortable with larger and larger swings of money. Yeah, trying to think of a good example of a trade where I've lost a ton of money. Well, I don't know. I probably don't want to go into specifics too much with that.
Oh, I've lost a ton of money. No big deal. It's not mine. And no, there's no math here at the cryptocurrency exchange. Now, let's send her billions of dollars. Lost a lot of money that investors, including institutional investors, including individuals who are hoping to retire with that money, all gone because we don't do math. It's so outdated. But here's the amazing thing. None of this seemed to faze the biggest institutional investors. Sequoia, their entire job is to what? Assess risk. But it wasn't really about risk and reward. It was about something else. Earlier this year, Michael Grimes, a former spokesman for Bill Clinton, who seemed to be making an awful lot of money somehow in the financial world, approached Elon Musk, the world's richest man, with an investment offer on behalf of SBF. Sam Bankman-Fried wants you to invest. Elon Musk didn't get to be the richest man on the planet by investing in things like that, so he apparently smelled BS and turned Grimes down. But in their exchange, which has since become public, Grimes multiple times told Musk that, by the way, Sam Bankman-Fried is a huge donor to the Democratic Party. Quote, major Democratic donor, Grimes wrote to Musk, second to Bloomberg in donations to Biden campaign. What does that have to do with the investment? It should be irrelevant, but that was the substance of the pitch. What is this exactly? Doesn't quite sound like a business. It sounds like a hybrid of some kind, and not in a reassuring way. Now, some of this was happening in secret, but a lot of it was happening right out in public, right in front of the news media. And, of course, a lot of them knew Sam Bankman-Fried because he was sending a lot of the money. And when he wasn't, he was desperate for the publicity they could provide. Sam Bankman-Fried was on the cover of more magazines than Madonna. So they probably should have been asking questions about his business, but none of them did. They promoted him. Watch.
They call him the JP Morgan of crypto, right?
Yeah, the Michael Jordan of crypto, if you will. So why should you care about a floppy-haired, vegan, fidget-spinning crypto billionaire who occasionally sleeps on a beanbag chair?
During the so-called crypto winter, the 30-year-old CEO has been referred to as crypto's white knight.
JP Morgan of this generation, Sam Bankman-Fried's FTX. Is he the Jay Gould of our era, or is he the JP Morgan of our era?
I think it's yet to be determined. Yet to be determined.
Is he Vanderbilt?
He could be.
Is he Harriman?
Possibly.
Is he the Credit Mobilier Scandal?
Is he Carnegie?
If he gives a lot of libraries, he is.
He's the JP Morgan of finance, of crypto. He's the Michael Jordan of crypto. But wait a second. Michael Jordan's not in crypto. He played basketball. Well, Sam Bankman-Fried's not really in crypto either. How are we all getting rich? Who knows? Don't ask questions. He's the JP Morgan. He'll be a trillionaire. So why were all these people pushing a scam that any normal person, even a person with no background in finance and just sort of a elementary understanding of profit-loss equations, could have seen was probably going to collapse in the end? Now, we're not sure. Stupidity clearly plays a role. So does the herd instinct. So all we can ask really is, who is benefiting from all of this? Well, we know that the Democratic Party benefited. As we told you, Sam Bankman-Fried donated $40 million to Democrats this cycle. That's more than any other donor apart from Soros. Then he pledged another $1 billion for the next election, $1 billion in one election, because that's democracy. He wasn't doing this in private. He was bragging about it. And then he was going on in public about how politicians, Democratic politicians, were begging him for money. Watch this.
So how do you find political fundraisers? They come to you directly? Is it easy to get to you and say, we need this money for this candidate? And what type of candidates do you tend to support?
Oh, yeah. Well, if I pulled out my phone here and just looked at my last 10 text messages, about half of them are going to be people asking for, politicians asking for contributions.
So why were you telling us this in public? And by the way, if you're shaking like a naked man in a snowstorm in the middle of an interview, maybe there's something wrong with you. Send that boy another $1 billion. So how substantial? Are we overstating this? We're making a partisan point so that things collapsed. It was clearly a Ponzi. Are we trying to attack the Democratic Party now? No, it's actually justified. This guy was a major donor According to the head of Citadel, defeating Donald Trump was literally on the balance sheet of FTX. Watch this.
FTX crosses into a zone that all of us are worried about. You know, on the balance sheet of FTX is a line called Trump lose. And Sam was the second biggest donor to Democratic candidates.
I'm going to leave it to everybody else to draw their own conclusions about what you're saying here.
The other reporter says, we're out of time. We can't go too deeply into that. Really? Let's go more deeply into it. It's pretty interesting. So, of course, politicians love the guy because he was just a cash spigot, and that's what they want most. But where were the regulators? Because there is a government that's supposed to be independent of office holders, a regulatory state that keeps Ponzi's from happening. Where were they? Well, Sam Bankman-Fried was himself invited to.
So obviously you can tell there's it's a mess, absolute mess. But that's a quick update I have for you. I'm going to make sure that I bring you some more information on what's going on in the market. We're going to have an update as to what's going on with this FTX stuff. But as you can see, things are getting much worse. This thing is deeper than a lot of us can even anticipate. This is absolutely nuts. But make sure you come to the Crypto is Key Conversation YouTube channel. Subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at Crypto is Key 1. I really appreciate your support. With all that being said, stay strong out there and be safe.